But when the epiphany attacked the Reich, it only hits his image. And the renegade launches a violent attack again, blowing out the great power. It amazes the people below. I was wondering if those are the two goblins. Two forces hitting each other, creating a thunderous explosion. Photographer just used the photo love the whole Lake Panda. It's amazing to the men of Tian Hai. Question: you can use two of these at the same time. It's really interesting. It's a little bravery. The dance next door added. Ever since. Never had. Maybe his body is different from ordinary people. Your face is dark right now. Your face is dark. Underneath the Yep Chung radio is still screaming. He struck out to ice dragons, is opening its mouth wide. But when the fight comes, then regurgitation turns into love, vanish. He was able to avoid the attacks of these two ice dragons. Deep thought, his fighting techniques are getting stronger. You can't dodge it forever. But the light is dark. The tiger's violent principle, the panda exploded. It's hard to hurt him. It's really troublesome here. American photography is not simple. I don't blame God for taking him so seriously. At this age, you can play against 6-year-olds. It even combines the two spirits. After today, I'm sure that the Lord will give more importance to you. So he transmitted the sound for Ye Fu to urge. Don't even kill him. Give him an hour to kill him, or you will regret it. AP fetish hot-blooded thought, obnoxious. I have no way back. But this guy's as slippery as a swordfish. I can't catch him if we don't let him run around. So he's got his hands down in the yard. Immediately, the snow and ice built up. The radio is now enclosed in a small box. It surprised the photographer. When you hit your head against the ice wall, I realized I was surrounded by radio. Seconds later, an ice dragon appeared behind. Open your mouth wide, causing the photographer to hit the ice wall. It was painful to think about what he wanted to do. Fortunately, I was able to protect the important place. If you continue like this, you can't. I have to get my real self out. Yap Fidi screams, but in my self-reproach, I'm sorry, photographer. My wife is in the hands of a false prophet. You absolutely can't leave him. And then he closed his eyes. Out came a white mist surrounding the photographer. Countless sharp-edged ice chases Puri to kill. When the photographer launches, was stabbed by countless ice noses. Southern subject Thien Hai amazing. Realize that, the Korean legend. The devil wants to kill the photographer. Hong Yu was worried that the photographer was injured. Can't dodge. Shout EP fetish stop hand. The photographer's companions below were worried. Panic. Above the ring, the ice is shaking. Suddenly, a red light came out. Through the ice and snow shining straight into the sky. It's filled with terror. Even the Yep fetishes are extremely difficult to understand. When the ice is collapsing, the smoke is blowing out. There are two red eyes that are very aggressive. A pair of wings appeared fluttering in the smoke. And then there's the photographer's spectacular makeover. When the holy blood fused, he growled furiously. That's amazing. But still trying to calmly unleash countless wind states. But this is just scratching for the photographer. Nam Moon Thien. It was amazing to realize that this is a delivery serum. It's also about God-level maturity. Long Thien Min here stood up quietly. Before this power, he turned to the doctor for advice. We feel the conflict between us can be put aside. You must also see the potential of the photographer. Once he grows up, will definitely threaten the position of inheritance. Your master. But my husband sighed, laughing at Long Thien Min. You misread me again. I fight with you. You don't have to do it alone. I just want to see a little bit of the owner. You and I are better suited. If someone new starts, I will absolutely not force him. Say not. The photographer can become a figure like the Kier ancestor. Lead the Lord to my glory. Why do we have to push him? Long Thien Min heard that and shook his head with a sigh. I can't believe you are inflamed. You are such an innocent man. If the gods say that, we'll believe it. The doctor replied casually. You don't believe it. Even though this has nothing to do with me. I will not put my hand in it. Long Thien Min dark face again thinking. This guy obviously wants the fisherman to profit. Not moving at all. He's not really afraid of grown-ups. It will be the next biggest threat. Side of the field. Stand still for the ice to come. It didn't work. It hurt him. Every step of the way. Standing in front of a huge body. Then screamed for an hour. He saw that he opened his mouth wide. Launch by ice dragon's attack. But it didn't work for him either. The ice is broken. To make an astounding aphid stand bewildered. It is now the turn of the photographer. He threw a power punch. Make IP worship out. Crashed directly into the protective screen of the radio beam. Painful self-gushing blood mouth. Go back to the original form. Everyone below must be gaping in horror. This new student has just arrived. Defeated Mirong Wu and the IP feast. If you develop more, it is okay. At this time, the dog is lying on the ground. Speak up, we lost. And my heart happily thinking, that's good, then we rely on our strength to lose him to the false Demon. You certainly can't blame me. He's not guilty of murder. The photographer screamed for an hour. And then he deconstructs the fusion back to the beginning. Then tired of sitting on the ground. Joy in my heart. I think the previous injury was a bit heavy. The power of gravity is also important. Tianhai Men announced the billion. Then this win. If he can't use the gas. Defeat IP fetish. Me and the universe. The elders also recognized his strength. He's hurt too. Let him go down first and rest. The photographer's inspection is over. The crowd below looked at each other. Then suddenly Deem spoke up to stop it. Told to wait a moment. The two elders ended up like this. Is that too much? After listening to the two elders, they realized that they were fake. He wants to kill you. Unscrupulous serious order. They take action when they are too heavy. You didn't put him in jail. Assigned to Wu, then to comply with the law. So the subordinates immediately received the order to drag the IP cult away. Hong Wu voiced advice cannot deem false honor. IP worship is to hand. It was heavy, but even SAO didn't hurt the photographer. She said she was lucky not to get hurt. If you hurt the photographer, that's an unforgivable sin. But the photographer below often thinks we're hurt. Tianhai Men suggested, if it came to this country, let's stop this test. In my mind, the trick of the fake Demon is really cruel. But the false Demon continued. The two elders just said, arrange 2 times inspection for photographer. If the power is still there, it can be flipped. Men of Thien Hai reminded the false Demon 6. Wondering and trying to get under anger. What is wrong with the fake Demon? One IP is not enough. Why do you want to beat the pig to death? Van Luggage also Chen Mung up to say, no fake Demon. Based on previous rules, students can choose their own opponents. Something like today never happened. Forced to arrange an opponent, even if that's the case. But just up, he then arranged for IP Fei to be his opponent. Is it a little excessive or not? The fake team glared furiously. Then near voice peeing, my soul is with the universe. Nanmin Tian Hai two elders talk. Where is there room for you to cover your mouth? Luggage and so on. The false gods do not speak to me. I want to take that over. Deem immediately finished glaring. As a student of the Eastern Academy, you don't know how to be polite, and you say, I've got it. Turn to look at the bald man. I don't know if your teacher is normal. How to teach you? The luggage heard the cold anger. The students also sold each other. I don't blame the dog's behavior for being so strange. Then Ra is arranged by the false Deem Sao. It's not about morality. Then let IP suffer a bad reputation. Instead of others, if the photographer had died, he will be as desired. What did the photographer finally do? It makes me feel so guilty again. Some people say this has nothing to do with me. Less anyway. A person next to the crowd is arguing and talking. The photographer sitting here sighed. See the holy blood Sao. Of course, the false gods are waiting to be dealt with. It causes a big movement. Why do the angels not know? I'm afraid that the future will be false. We'll lose the credibility of the sky. God. I don't know who his next opponent is. If the holy blood has been revealed, just fighting with all your might. I want to hit the center. To become the heir apparent. Just like that, my plan, there is more and more space to build. So it's got to work. It's never been before. After taking a few pills, body regurgitation of energy. High soul exploded. Celestial Kai energy, very good aesthetic photographer. 1000 Li Hassan map, can endlessly transport the power of the celestial sphere. Give me. Maybe you can hit the 5 levels. Maybe one more win. The fake looked down. It is cold to say that she is my sister. This brother. I want to find out a little bit about his power. It's all so common. I have chosen a good opponent. The 2 elders. Doesn't need many words. Tianhai men hesitated. Then the emperor spoke to remind the false Deem. Doing so is not too bad. Deem asked again the fate of Sao. About the house of the electric body nebula, whether we are or not. It's not because the 2 elders want to interfere. Thien Hai said, if it was the home of the electric angel, I think, let us first ask Goddess permission. That's satisfactory. No, here we can represent the electric angel that we work for. You don't need 2 elders. Then order Quatch all the time. Let us check your strength a little. Remember to kill the enemy. Go out and take orders seriously. That's amazing. He thinks he is 9. More, it is also the target of the false Deem wholeheartedly fostered. The police will be killed by him. The elder Hong you over here. I strongly advise you to fake it. In my mind, in this fake Deem, in the end, why doesn't it hold back? I want to kill a photographer like that. Indignant Deem shouted, shut up. In my mind, my motives have been revealed. Don't kill the photographer now. The future will have no chance. The angel decided he had to get it. Is that he exerted great pressure on the heads of the 2 elders. Make them scream. When he saw it, he shouted, I'm not fighting anymore. Did you hear that? No more fighting. See if you can win. The boys below asked me to surrender. Another name laughed, haha. It was really cool. I thought it would be cool. The prince was surprised to say this. If the student at the bottom refused to accept this battle seems to be ignored. I was surprised to look up at Deem. The dark face. I think it as harder to deal with than I thought. At this time, the photographer pointed to the suggestion, if you want me to fight him. But I want to bring the gas. Deem looked surprised. The photographer asked for my gas. What do we rely on that we can't use? What the hell is this rule? Underneath people joking SAO. I heard the guru say that the photographer has a six-pack. Even if you stand to beat. I can't stand it. The photographer continues to speak. If you don't let me use gas. We don't play together very much. We're not going back to the hospital. When he finished, he jumped out of the castle. 6 adventurers laugh out loud. Haha, I aimed at the photographer, so recklessly. Don't fight anymore. The 2 elders looked at each other and laughed. The guy on the roof laughed at me. I like the personality of the boy. Long, thin Min, although he has no background. But you want to push him. I'm afraid it's not that simple. Long, thin Min replied, well, not really. The kid is just a little smart. Real fake strength. Won't play these little tricks. Back inflammatory silk surprisingly asked fake power SAO. He's just a new student at the temple. But what is a fake? The new destiny. What can make you lose your head? My brow. I have a feeling you won't play him again in the future. Long, thin Min. When I finished listening, I glanced uncomfortably. Side of the ring. All of this is just a matter of new people together. I'm so scared. You are cowardly, as you also have character. To become a disciple of the angel SAO. The photographer shouted out my cowardice. New 4 destiny scene. You arranged for me to rival the 9 worlds. Do you dare to fight now? More. The angel is willing to accept me as a disciple. You can manage for sure. After listening to everyone gagged and laughed. It also means that Deem can speak. Turn your back on your partner. Tell them to play by themselves. Although the level of the Eastern Court, we have seen it already. The fake Deem shouted. Your home is where you want to go. If you want to go, go. In recent times, we investigated and discovered. It is the sacrifice of goddess love. You can hide the angel. But I can get out of my eyes. I will arrest you sooner or later. The photographer was surprised when he heard it. The others were also astonished and yelled and asked what. So, continued Deem, I aimed at the photographer. It was discovered that he had nefarious intentions. New surprise, doctor. I want to remove this scapegoat completely. Get out. However, my behavior is indeed a bit to fate. But I am loyal to God. Heaven and earth witness. Try to ask him angrily. What's crazy? Directly concocted a reason to harm the photographer. No integrity. Confused people ask each other what the photographer is. If it's real. I didn't say anything early 8 parts. There's no evidence to talk about. The Tianhai male also ran out of words with his madness. Luggage van at this time just straightforward to tell the truth. The false deity is false. He discovered the super Vietnamese talented photographer. Feel the great threat. That's why I want to kill the photographer. For the love of God to destroy a threat. 6 adventurers, that's right. We can testify that false deities are false sacrifices. Long Vu Yin also contributed no wrong. We can also testify The phrase also sounds real. If that's the case, why didn't you bring the photographer to me? To interrogate again, using the regressive assassination ploy. Deem has a bloody throat. They say you suck blood. What evidence do you have? Luggage and so on laughed out loud, haha. Then I asked. Some people say that photography is bad. There's evidence again. I think we can use personality. Make sure that the photographer is absolutely not a space. I also agree with the dragon warrior that I am too. To make Deem distort words. The children of the three great worlds. Everyone talks for him. Then say three people you don't know. He used a trick to cover his eyes. A guy from the underworld. Who doesn't have any context. We can let the three big families. It's because of him that we talk. Maybe it's not so weird. If you say that, you think I am a traitor. Not for hundreds of years. There is a sacrifice of God's love that sneaks into the dance god. But the fake Deem said, disciple of the angel God. My brother is a traitor. Even the angels believe in me. Take me as a disciple. I don't know what you mean. It's not because we're jealous. When you hear the two words, laugh. A coward like you. Not even on the radio. Crossed hand photographer. I told you to go to war 9 times. It is still a saying. If you have the guts, long leads you to fight. Fake strength, martial tone, go. We dance. When he heard that, he stood there silent. The crowd laughed excitedly. At this time in the sky, there is a transmitter calling the sky. Prince Photographer, have you accepted as a disciple? The angel is not wrong. The Kier continued. The angel moves so fast. Almost 100 years ago, the gods are hard to see. Genius has such an excellent endowment. God asked, maybe the boss is moved by SAO. Don't worry about teaching your nephew. You can have inflammation. The owner replied, the genius of the North inflammatory map may be reluctant, can only reach the martial arts scene. Controlling one side is enough. But I want to be the Lord of the Rings. It is too difficult to lead the Lord of Heaven. The angel replied, unexpected, Lord, you value such courage. If so, then let the photographer move to the master monk down. The Lord replied that the Lord did not take him. If in the background has excellent genius and independence on the one hand, you really have to nurture it well. This photographer needs to see more. 100 years later, the gods. I want to give it to my parents. Of course, you have to be careful. There seems to be a bit of a contradiction between Deem and the photographer. Angel SAO not come to reconciliation a little. The angel replied, there's no point in getting rid of them. I told my friends to go home. I was surprised to ask why. You still want to fight back? Suddenly, the angel's voice came. You have to use all your power. The same thing happens every once in a while. No need to hold hands. I will protect your soul. Some people want to see your power. The photographer thought, the people the angel said. It's not the first 5 years of Vu, then Tongue, or SAO. Even if you want to be the owner of a dog. First you have to get it. It's the agreement of these 5 leaders. You have to perform well once. So he immediately said yes. Then he changed his mind and shouted at Deem. I changed my mind and agreed to this second bout. And we're not going to use gas. Silly crowd who asked a vigilante. The 4 real destiny to fight with the real power. 9 by Sao opposite worlds. I'll kill him again. Long Yu gently advised the master. Don't get excited. Look at this scene. They say there is no love. 6 adventures can also prevent photography. You don't have to fight him. I tried to remind him that he was a 9-year-old. It is clear that a false prophet has come to execute you. The photographer laughed softly and said, rest assured. I hold in my heart. Even the false gods here are difficult to understand. I thought, what's going on? What evil intent does this fire have? So he transmits audio to his subordinates Guo all the time. Go up and teach him a little. Don't be careless. He said yes and jumped on the field. The Germans also jumped on the battle line. Speak up all the time. I admit I despised you before. With your cultivation VI, you can defeat the IP feast. But let's end it here. The photographer laughed and replied that he didn't know. It's all about talking crazy. I hope you don't lose too quickly. Below, people ask questions. Whether the photographers have the victory. OD the photographers. I am also very worried about this battle. Take a deep breath. Celestial Chi Force from the 10,000 Li Sun, Ha Gu, radiated into Leo. It immediately absorbs power. Whole body autoclave gas burst. It's also cold to be surprised. Then there's a gas explosion, which causes the ground underneath to crack. Underneath, people being blown out by air. Terrified uttered, I don't think about the two of you. They're that strong. Was blown away and Guo stared up. It's accompanied by green air. The gas quickly turned into a sword. He told the photographer, I wanted to see it. How much power do you have? So he soared up. Strive to attack the photographer at lightning speed. People are terrified and their mouths are open. Holler, I can't believe that God's love is so strong. Then, see Guo Tian Lao to photography fusion love photos. As Guo waving his sword raw, slashed down. Then the photographer is ruined. Seconds later, the punch comes out. The two sides are constantly fighting. Makes the field crumble. Guo constantly exclaimed, that can keep up with our speed. But still too weak. Then he swung his sword. But the photographer disappeared. All the time now. I've figured out the direction the photographer's going. Immediately launch Freight 2. When the photographer showed up, he was beaten. Kicked straight into the chest. So the photographer immediately merged with the Holy Blood SAO. Screaming for an hour. I quickly stepped back and complained. It's finally fused. The photographer screamed with force. Then the resources directly attack. Make Guo rush to avoid. He laughed softly and praised the Holy Blood. The power is not ordinary. Aesthetic photographer, I still want to explore my own power. Why don't you go ahead and show him? At the right time, I can't hold it. All the power of the Holy Blood. And so the Reich started throwing this crazy blow. To make the rocks go up and down. I think again and again. We brought the power of the heavens. Hit into your body. Feel your power. I know your power. As in the palm of your hand. Facing me. You can't win the war. Go to hell. He thought after he stepped back from the attack. Then the eyes lit up. Your body is compatible with the moon dragon beast. He's got a wobbly tail. It's like a scorpion ready to fight. So, and then crashed right into the photographer with tremendous force. A terrible explosion that caused the arena to crumble. The aftershock caused the ground below the crowd to break. Now, the photographer is also thrown away by this curtain, grinding his spicy teeth. Some people below are complaining. Gu's true power is always so strong, Sao. Even if you use holy blood. But it's also too bad. Over here, all the time, he crawled up to the photographer, which surprised him a little. And then the most powerful attacked his hand with sharp claws, rushed. Immediately treasured on her shoulder photographer. It's hard to avoid him. But surprised. At this time, the body grows thorns. Stabbing his hand made him scream in pain. What is the stupid old man Ra asking? The photographer has now sprouted a heap of thorns. Look at the huge body of the ruffled spines standing up. Make Guo always amazing. The men of Thien Hai exclaimed, then the holy blood of the regent is strange. That is why Hongvu was also confused. Love Lin, long blood god acute mature, which is one of thousands and thousands of extremely rare. Based on this love, no matter how talented the photographer is, he will also become one of the most important students of Vu Than Tong, the false gods of the dark. Smiling obnoxious face, I don't blame the old man for taking such an important position. The crowd at this moment is filled with wonder. This kind of love, even money can buy my soul. It's spiritual trash. God's destiny is not fair. The owner at this time said that the level of variation. Angel, I laugh, haha. It's been hundreds of years. We've never seen old people before. Love the dragon blood god. Level of mutant level. The owner ordered the word down. Later, the photographer was a very important subject, protected by the body. Angel god. The Lord has given you to teach him. The angel happily agreed. He can also do things. It's beyond my imagination. The crowd at the bottom of the arena was laughing. Haha, 6 adventure. Let me know immediately, if you will.